Are the children you're teaching safe when they're under your care? Because no ministry is immune to abuse, here are 5 child protection policies that help protect kids from abuse and protect ministry workers from false accusations of abuse. You can't afford to miss this. Please note that the following policies are best practices and should not be considered as or replace legal advice. We highly recommend consulting a legal professional to build a child protection policy that is best suited for your children's ministry. Abuse often happens in secret and in isolation. Jesus had some strong words for those who would sin against a child. Matthew 18:6 says, "But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depths of the sea." If this is Jesus' heart for children, then we as followers of Jesus should take their well-being seriously. And this is where a child protection policy comes in. This is a necessary preventative measure every ministry should have. As the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. With that being said, policy number 1 is parental permission. Make sure every child has permission to attend your program and permission to stay in touch with any program staff or volunteers. The child's guardian should never wonder, where is my kid and what are they doing? Or who is this adult contacting my kid and what are they talking about? The goal is for us to be transparent and open, not alienating or disrespecting the child's guardian. So make sure every child is signed up and has permission to attend your program. Besides the basic information like name, age, gender, home address, the permission form should also include information like the child's emergency contact, any allergies to be aware of, if the child can have their picture taken, and who is allowed to pick up the child. The permission form must be dated and signed by the guardian, or else the child will not have permission to attend. Once a child has permission to attend, add them to the roster and then take attendance. This helps the program leader keep accurate records, which can be used to better the program and even protect your ministry from a future lawsuit. Sometimes kids will just slip in when you're not watching the door, or maybe a child will just bring a friend who hasn't signed up. Set up your spaces so that someone can always watch the door and make sure who is there, who should be there, and whoever shouldn't be there is not. This applies to adults too. Only screened ministry workers and people picking up their child should be in the area. Okay, so that's during the children's program, but what if you want to stay in contact with kids you teach outside of the program's hours? In that case, the child must have permission from their guardian to stay in contact. The guardian should know who their kid is talking to and if they're staying safe. Again, the goal of policy 1 is to be transparent and to be open, to have nothing to hide. So if you or a child ever wants to send a letter, a text, a call, email, a DM on social media, ask their guardian first and keep them in the loop. The exception to this rule is that postcards are okay because they're not enclosed and parents can see the contents. Policy number 2 is the 2-person rule. Never be alone with a child and out of sight of other screened ministry workers. So let's break that down. First of all, a staff member and volunteer must have a background check cleared before they can interact with the children in your program. Then they should all be issued some kind of identifier, like a name tag or a shirt that shows they're part of the children's ministry team. Second, once you are cleared to work with the kids, always abide by the 2-person rule. This means that you should never be totally alone with the child during the program, but you should always be in full sight of another screened worker. This provides accountability. It protects the children from being secretly abused, and it protects volunteers from false accusations. Restrooms are tricky because they rightfully provide privacy. If possible, have children-only restrooms. If that's not possible, then adults should not be going into the restroom at the same time as a child, unless it's to assist a younger child, in which case you can follow the 2-person rule with the appropriate gender. It may also be wise to have the younger children use the restroom at a different time than the older children if you're working with a wide age range, like an age gap of 3 to 4 years. Visibility provides accountability, so the whole team should help each other abide by this 2-person rule. Okay, policy number 3 is safe touches. Use only appropriate touch with the kids. Physical affection is by no means evil. In fact, it's actually necessary for our healthy human development. However, our goal is to stay above reproach while still loving these children with God's love. So it's important to define what is appropriate and what's inappropriate touch during the children's program. Appropriate touches are shoulders and above, such as high fives, handshakes, fist bumps, taps on the shoulder or arm, and shoulder hugs. For shoulder hugs, let the child initiate and then give them a quick hug around the shoulders. Never force touch on a child, even if it's an appropriate touch. Other inappropriate touches during the children's programs are things like tickling or roughhousing, sitting in an adult's lap, piggyback rides or shoulder rides, kisses, touches that are prolonged, suspicious, or unwanted, or using an object like a pen to touch a child inappropriately, or touching a child out of anger or frustration. Physical punishment like spanking, slapping, or pinching is also not appropriate in a children's ministry. Check out our description for a full child protection policy to answer questions you might have or for more information. Generally, do not restrain a child, like grabbing them or holding their wrists so they can't get away, unless they are in danger of hurting themselves or other people. In that case, you should immediately notify the program's leader and document what happened as soon as possible, and explain what happened to the child's guardian. Again, there is nothing inherently bad about showing kids physical affection, but setting a high bar during the program will give darkness one less spot to hide and thrive. It is also our responsibility to protect children's privacy. With the global reach of the internet, we have to be wise when we're sharing pictures and the personal information of the kids that we work with. So policy number 4 is post pictures carefully. How can you exercise caution in this area? There are 3 steps. First of all, make sure that the children in your program have a photo release signed off by their guardian in the permission form. Sometimes children are in delicate family situations and can't have their pictures taken at all, and the guardian will not sign the photo release. In that case, make a note that child should not be photographed at all. Second, if anyone takes pictures of the kids, the location settings of the camera should be disabled. Third, do not include a combination of information that could make any child in that picture easy to find. For example, if you're posting a picture on social media, do not post something like, Amber Johnson, Ricky Williams, and Talia Davis are having a blast here at Bless Your Heart Church every Wednesday night at 7:30. Come join us. Information that might make a child easy to find is a combination of their picture, their first and last name, age or grade, the location of your program, the date and time of the program, birthdays, and so on. If the kids in the picture are wearing name tags, make sure their names are covered or blurred before sharing. The goal here is to protect the child's personal details, both online and off. For our 5th and final best practice, policy number 5 is no meds, money, or gifts. Let's sort through this. The only time you should be giving a child medication during the program is that if it's the child's personal medication in case of emergencies and the guardian has requested it. To make sure there was no miscommunication, have that request in writing, dated and signed. Make sure that the medicine is in its original container and is clearly labeled, and keep it in a safe place where children cannot reach. If the medication is administered during your program, have a brief written report of it and sign it. As for giving kids personal gifts or money, it's wiser not to, because it can lead to favoritism, expectations, and misunderstandings or the appearance of evil. It's different if the gifts are like program-wide prizes that the children earn, Bibles, or Christmas or birthday presents that everybody gets. Or if you're using money as an object lesson in a group setting, that's also fine. The goal here is to avoid fostering an inappropriate or manipulative relationship between an adult and a child through gifts or money. In fact, all of these best practices are meant to shed light so that inappropriate relationships do not develop. That's why it's so important for the ministry team to be on the same page. When you and your team are on the same page, there are fewer places for darkness to hide. So with these safety measures in place, continue to share the love and truth of Christ with the little ones He loves.